Nations having the right to exist. Now, this whole discussion and question has been raised really as by internationalists in general, because as internationalists, we don't believe in countries and borders. But it was also, but this the specific sentence of right to exist was invented primarily by anti-Zionists against Israel. Because when they do say that places that were built on the basis of cleansing the indigenous, like Australia, New Zealand, America, and Canada, and all of Latin America, and the Caribbean, when they do sometimes say that they have no right to exist, I admit, but that's only when you ask them. Israel having no right to exist, they go out their way to say it all the time. And if you ask, say, a West Papuan activist, do you think Indonesia has no right to exist? They can't answer that because it's an odd question. And I think, I'm a socialist, I'm a Marxist, I'm a Trotskyist, and I'm an internationalist as a result. You can't be a socialist without being an internationalist, that's a fact. But at the same time, the way I look at oppressed groups is that if they've been oppressed for so long by imperialism, by ethnic cleansing, by genocide, by hyperexploitation, by racism and whatnot, they need a surplus of self-defense measures in place to protect themselves from it. So in the case of course, Israel and Palestine, Palestinians need the military forms of self-defense to defend themselves from the Israeli state, but also from Assad Syria and other places that oppress the Palestinians, not just Israel. Because when we single out Israel, that is actually unintentionally anti-Semitic, because it means no Jews, no news. But also in the case of other worse examples, because even though, yes, Israel was founded on the basis of, ethnic cleansing and imperialism, it was also founded on the basis of, it was also founded in response to the Holocaust. I'm not saying it was done the right way, but I am saying it's more complex than how most people put it. But within the Western world, so the countries I mentioned like America, Canada, all of Latin America, etc., the natives are now a minority population. But that's only due to ethnic cleansing and genocide. Do I believe that America has no right to exist? No. I think American civilization is fine as long as the natives have a surplus of military measures to defend themselves from gentrification, from ethnic cleansing, from discrimination, from not having power in government, etc. And, if they have that effectively, they'd have that within the American government. And that would probably almost certainly lead to either the downfall of the American government or just a change into something else. It might change its name. Same with Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. So, I think, yes, I don't believe in countries and borders, but at the same time, because in the UK, I think migrating from Plymouth to London should be treated like migrating from Poland to London. So, but at the same time, when people are oppressed, they need a surplus of self-defense. So, so it is important to recognize that if we do want to see a world with free movement all over Earth, with anti-racism, with people living in harmony with equal opportunities, then we're going to have to give the most oppressed groups the opportunities they don't have first. So my belief in two states isn't a belief in border controls, and it isn't even permanent. It's definitely not permanent. It's just a belief in keeping two groups safe from each other after years of wars. You know, we might even, break the borders one day completely and have just an Israel-Palestine or a united Palestine, whatever it will be called, but it will be on the basis of what's right for both Jews and Palestinians. We'd also have things like a united socialist states of the Middle East and a united socialist states of Europe, in context of Brexit and the European Union. United Socialist States of Australasia, United Socialist States of North America. All these places will have, unity and free movement and protection and, of course, socialism, not neoliberalism. And I think, it's worth us remembering if we want to see a world with internationalism, is that we have to be realistic about what it's going to take to get there. So I hope this helps, and I'd love to see all comments in the comment section down below, of course. And I don't mind whether they agree with me or not, just your own freedom of speech. So solidarity with the Palestinians, solidarity with the West Papuans, with the Western Saharans, with the Rohingyans, with the Uyghurs, without sounding like all lives matter, with all oppressed groups all over the world. And if I miss any, definitely listen down in the comments.